Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Quotes 365. Let me ask you something straight. How many times have you caught yourself trying too hard? Chasing her attention, craving her approval, thinking maybe if you just do a little more, she'll finally see your worth. Be honest, we've all been there. But here's a truth most men never figure out. The more you chase, the more invisible you become. The more you give away your power, the less she respects you. And what makes it worse, most women will never tell you what really pulls them in, what truly weakens their defenses. They keep that part locked away. But today we're about to unlock it. We're going deep into the top 9 female weaknesses every man needs to know. Not silly pickup tricks, not cheap mind games. This is about stoic power, building the kind of masculine energy that naturally draws her to you, without effort, without words. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and the quality of your presence is what shapes how women see you." So stay with me, because by the time you finish this video, you'll understand exactly how to flip the script, how to become the man she can't stop thinking about. And hey, if you're serious about building this power in your life, hit that subscribe button right now. You don't want to miss what's coming next on this channel. All right, let's get started. The first weakness is something no woman can ignore, and most men have no clue about. Number 1. They crave emotional strength in a man. Let's get straight to it, folks. If there's one thing that pulls a woman in deeper than looks, deeper than words, it's emotional strength. Not muscles, not money. Emotional strength. Now think about this. How many men out there can truly hold their ground when things go sideways? When emotions run high, when the tension hits the roof? Not many. That's exactly why it stands out when you do. You see, women are emotional by nature. That's not a flaw, that's not a criticism. It's just human wiring. Their emotions flow like a river, sometimes calm, sometimes wild. And when her emotions rise, she instinctively looks to see, can you handle it? Or will you crumble? Will you lash out? Will you get pulled into the storm with her? Because if you do, if you mirror her emotions, you've already lost that frame. But if you can stand there grounded, calm, steady, that's when something changes. That's when her respect deepens. That's when attraction starts to grow on a level most men never reach. Here's where Stoicism shines. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is exactly what emotional strength is. Mastering your mind. Not reacting to her mood swings. Not letting external chaos dictate your inner state. Now picture this. She's upset. Maybe something small. Maybe something big. She throws out sharp words. She tests your patience. Maybe she even tries to get a rise out of you. Most guys, they'll snap back, they'll argue, they'll beg for understanding, they'll show weakness. But not you. You breathe. You stay calm. You let her feel what she feels without losing your frame. You show her through action, not words, that you are solid. You're the rock in the storm. And here's what happens. The more she sees this side of you, the more safe she feels. And yes, the more attraction she feels. Because emotional strength is rare. And what's rare becomes valuable. Let's get practical for a moment. How do you cultivate this strength? Number 1, practice detachment. It's not coldness. It's not indifference to her as a person. It's choosing to detach from the need to control her emotions. You let her own them. You don't rush in to fix, to argue, to rescue. You let things flow while you stay grounded. Number 2, master your breath. Sounds simple, right? But when tension rises, when anger flares, your breath shortens. Control that. Breathe deeper, slower. It sends signals to your nervous system. Stay calm, stay present. And number 3, remind yourself her emotions are not your responsibility. Your reaction is, you don't own her mood. You own your own state. Now here's why this matters more than you think. When you bring this level of emotional strength into your presence, you stop being just another guy. You become a man she looks up to, a man she trusts, a man who can handle her not in a controlling way, but in a deeply masculine, calm way. And folks, that triggers something primal. A woman craves this because deep down it signals to her nervous system, this is a man I can lean on. Not just when things are easy, but when life gets messy. Now think about this, how rare is that today? Most guys are ruled by their own emotions. They react to every text. They snap when things don't go their way. They're needy for reassurance. And women, they see this, they feel it, and they're repelled by it. But you will be different. Because when you master emotional strength, you stand out. She won't be able to explain it, but she'll feel it. She'll crave your presence. She'll wonder why she feels more at ease around you, more feminine, more drawn in. And here's a little secret. When you show up with this kind of calm, unshakable energy, that's when she starts thinking about you at night. That's when she starts missing you when you're not around. And that, my friend, is when attraction takes on a whole new level. So ask yourself this, are you ready to be that man? Ready to bring true emotional strength into every interaction? Because the stronger you become inside, the more magnetic you become on the outside. And what's coming next? Even more powerful. Stay with me, because the next weakness is something almost no man understands, but once you do it, changes the entire game. Oh, and if this resonates with you, drop a comment below. I've seen this. Let's keep going. Number 2. Women can't resist the silent mystery. Let's get right into this one, folks, because most guys mess this up without even knowing it. If there's one trait that sparks a woman's curiosity, one thing that draws her back in again and again, it's mystery. But not just any mystery. It's the silent mystery. You see, too many men think the way to win a woman's heart is through words, through explaining, proving, oversharing every thought and feeling they have. They think if they can just say the right thing, reveal enough of themselves, she'll finally feel that pull. But it doesn't work that way. In fact, the opposite is true. The more you explain, the more you fill the space with chatter, the less room you leave for her imagination. And a woman's imagination, my friend, is one of the strongest forces you can tap into. Here's what most men miss. Attraction grows in the unknown, when she doesn't quite know what's going on in your mind. When you move through life with a calm, quiet confidence. When you don't feel the need to explain yourself or fill every silence. That's when her interest deepens. Why? Because now she's thinking about you when you're not around. She's wondering. She's replaying moments in her head. She's trying to figure you out. And that mental engagement, that curiosity, is what makes you unforgettable. Here's where Stoicism comes into play. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The process is mutual. Think about this in the context of mystery. You want to be the kind of man who's always improving, who carries a life beyond her, whose thoughts, actions, and direction don't revolve around her approval. When you live this way, naturally you reveal less. You speak when you have something to say, not just to fill the air. And that silence, that mystery, it forces her to engage with your energy at a deeper level. Let's take a real-world example. Have you ever been on a date, and you can tell the guy is trying too hard? He's talking non-stop, oversharing, trying to impress, trying to entertain. It's exhausting to watch, right? Now imagine how it feels for a woman. Contrast that with the man who is present, who listens more than he speaks, who responds thoughtfully but leaves much unsaid. That man owns the room. Because people, women especially, are drawn to what they can't easily figure out. And here's the key, this isn't about playing some cold game. It's not about withholding affection or being rude. It's about embodying quiet strength. It's about being selective with your words, comfortable in your own silence. focused on your life, your mission, not seeking to fill every moment with validation. When you live this way, your presence speaks louder than your words ever could. Women can feel this. They sense it in your energy. And here's the best part, it activates their imagination. When she's driving home, when she's lying in bed, when she's scrolling through her phone late at night, that's when she starts to think about you. Not because you texted 10 times, not because you told her everything, but because you didn't. You left space, you gave her room to wonder, and that space, that's where attraction grows. So how do you cultivate this silent mystery? Number 1, embrace pauses. Don't rush to fill every gap in conversation. A thoughtful pause often speaks volumes. Number 2, protect your personal life. Not everything needs to be shared. Let her earn your story over time. Number 3, have a life. Be genuinely engaged in your purpose, your passions, your work. The busier you are building your life, the less you feel the need to overshare. And here's one more truth. A man who can enjoy silence with himself and with a woman communicates immense strength. Because silence is presence, and presence is powerful. Now you might be wondering what happens if she pulls away when you start showing this side. Here's what you need to remember. Not every woman can handle a man with this kind of energy, but the ones who can, the ones who respect strength, they'll be drawn in like a magnet. And that's exactly what you want. Because when a woman chooses to pursue a man of mystery, that attraction runs deep. So ask yourself, are you living with enough silent mystery? Are you leaving space for her imagination? Because the less you reveal, the more she will wonder. And the more she wonders, the more she craves. Stick with me, because coming up next is one of the most misunderstood weaknesses most women hide. And once you see it, you'll never look at attraction the same way again. And hey, if this hits home for you, drop it in the comments right now. I want this. Let's move forward. Number 3, confidence in scarcity always wins. Let's break this one down, folks, because it's a game changer that most men completely miss. Scarcity. It's one of the most powerful forces in human psychology, especially in attraction. Now you might be thinking, scarcity, what does that have to do with confidence? Well, everything. You see, when something is rare, when it's not easily available, it instantly becomes more valuable. That's basic human nature. Think about it. Why do people line up for limited edition sneakers? Why do collectors pay fortunes for rare coins or vintage cars? It's simple. Scarcity drives desire. And guess what? The same principle applies to you and how women perceive you. Most men today, they're way too available, too quick to answer texts, too eager to meet up, too desperate to be liked. And women feel this. They sense when a man is living life on her terms, not his own. Now here's the Stoic truth. A man of value guards his time. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. A man who protects his time and energy, who lives with purpose, naturally creates scarcity around himself. Not because he's playing games, but because he has a life. And that, my friend, is where true confidence shines. Because real confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to shout. It simply is. It radiates from the way you move, the way you speak, the way you guard your time. Now let's be clear, scarcity alone won't get you anywhere. Scarcity with confidence, that's what makes you irresistible. So how do you live this way? Let me give you a different angle today, not just the usual advice. It starts with prioritizing purpose over people. When your mission in life comes first, your goals, your growth, your passions, naturally your time becomes scarce. You're no longer sitting by the phone. You're no longer wondering if she's thinking of you. You're too busy building, too busy evolving. And that's when women start noticing. Because here's what happens. When you're scarce, when your presence isn't always guaranteed, it triggers uncertainty. And uncertainty for women creates fascination. She starts to wonder, where is he? What's he doing? Who is he spending time with? Why isn't he chasing me like everyone else? That's the seed of attraction right there. But here's the key. This can't be faked. You can't pretend to be busy. You can't fake scarcity while sitting around watching YouTube all day. It has to be real. And that's where confidence in scarcity comes in. You're confident enough in yourself, in your path, that you don't need to be constantly available. You know your value. You know that if she wants your time, she's going to have to earn it. And when that frame is genuine, it's magnetic. So here's a little exercise for you. Look at your week. Are you filling it with things that build you up? Or are you secretly leaving gaps just in case she calls? Be honest with yourself, because a man who lives for his purpose will always project abundance from within, which naturally creates scarcity in the eyes of others. And women, they are incredibly attuned to this. When they feel that you are in demand, that your time is precious, that you're not waiting for anyone, their attraction skyrockets, because now you're the prize. Now let's flip this. What happens when you're too available? You lower your value. Why? Because it signals low confidence. It says, I don't have anything better going on. Please choose me. And no woman wants to feel like she's your only option. She wants to feel like she earned her place in your life. And that only happens when you're scarce, when your time has value. So remember, confidence in scarcity always wins. Guard your time. Live for your purpose. Move with quiet strength. And you'll be shocked how quickly women start chasing your attention because they feel they might lose it. Coming up next, I'm going to show you one of the most addictive energies a man can project, one that keeps her coming back again and again. Stick around, and if this speaks to you, drop a quick comment, I felt that. Let's keep going. Number 4. Indifference is the most addictive energy. Let's have a real conversation about this one, folks, because this is the part where a lot of men fall flat, and they don't even realize it. Indifference. Now, I don't mean fake coldness. I'm not talking about pretending not to care just to play it cool. I mean genuine, grounded indifference, the kind that radiates from a man who knows his worth and doesn't place it in the hands of any woman or anyone. Because here's the truth, when you're truly indifferent, not in a cruel way but in a powerful way, women feel it. And that energy, it's addictive. Why? Because we're wired to crave what we can't control. When a man leans in too hard, when he's seeking her approval, her attention, her affection, he gives away all the power. She knows she's got him, and when she knows that when there's no tension, no uncertainty, attraction fades. But when you pull back, when you hold your center, when you show through action, not words, that her validation doesn't define you, that's when the game changes. She starts to lean in, because suddenly she's no longer in control. Now think about how this plays out in real life. A guy gets a text, he responds in seconds. A woman cancels a date, he rushes to reschedule. She posts a new picture. He likes it, comments on it, sends her a message. You get the idea. It's all energy flowing one way toward her. And she feels it. But now, imagine this. You don't jump on that text right away. You don't chase after cancelled plans. You don't reward social media breadcrumbs with instant attention. Not because you're trying to be difficult, not because you're playing games, but because you're living life on your terms. Because you have options, you have purpose, and because here's the core, you're not outcome dependent. That's where true indifference comes from. When your happiness, your peace, your self-worth, none of it hinges on her reaction. She can come or go, and you remain grounded. She can lean in or pull away, and you stay unmoved. That energy, it's magnetic. Because now, she's wondering, why isn't he reacting like every other guy? Why doesn't he seem to need me? What's going on in his life that makes him so solid? And the more she wonders, the more she leans in. You see, this is the power of indifference. It flips the dynamic. Now, some of you might be thinking, but if I'm too indifferent, won't she lose interest? Good question. But here's the key. It's about balance. Stoicism teaches us, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Marcus Aurelius. You don't become cold or closed off. You remain warm present when you choose to engage. But at your core, you're unshaken. You're not waiting for her texts. You're not living for her attention. You're not driven by external outcomes. And that's what separates you from 99% of men out there. Now here's something practical. If you want to cultivate this energy, start with this mindset. I am the prize. Not in an arrogant way, but in a way that honors your worth. You're not auditioning for her. You're living for you. She can choose to be a part of that or not. But either way, you stay centered. And when you live this way, when your indifference is rooted in true self-respect, everything shifts. Women pick up on it instantly. And guess what? The ones who are drawn to strong men, they lean in fast. Because deep down, this kind of indifference is intoxicating. It's what separates a man from the boys. It signals to her nervous system. This man doesn't need me. He chooses me when it serves his purpose. And that, my friend, is pure power. So ask yourself, are you living from this place? Or are you still subtly chasing, still outcome dependent? Because once you shift this, you'll start to notice everything change. How she responds, how she invests, how she starts to crave your attention, because now it's scarce. And remember, confidence in scarcity plus true indifference. That's a 1-2 punch most men will never master. But if you do, you become the prize. Now, before we move on, I want to remind you, if you're serious about building this kind of power in your life, this is what we do here. So hit that subscribe button right now. And if you want to go deeper, join our Stoic Brotherhood community. That's where the real work happens. All right, coming up next is a truth that will surprise you. It's the one move that instantly shifts a woman's attraction, and most guys avoid it. Stick with me, you won't want to miss it. Number 5. She's drawn to a man who walks away. All right, folks, let's get into something that separates the men from the boys. Most guys will never understand this, and that's exactly why it works. She's drawn to a man who walks away. Now, I'm not saying storm out of the room during an argument. I'm not talking about childish behavior or giving the silent treatment number. I'm talking about a man who knows his value and is not afraid to walk away when something no longer serves him. Let me ask you something. How many times have you stayed in a situation with a woman with a relationship that deep down you knew wasn't right? Maybe you thought, if I just try harder, maybe she'll change. Or worse, if I leave, I'll lose her forever. That's fear talking. That's weakness, and women can smell it from a mile away. Here's what happens when you stay in that frame. You lose respect, not just hers, but your own. Because whether she says it out loud or not, every woman is watching. Will this man tolerate disrespect? Will he stay, even when he's being undervalued? Does he have the strength to walk away? And when the answer is no, when she senses you're clinging to her, her attraction starts to die. Because here's the truth. A man who needs her, a man who fears losing her, is no longer a challenge. He's not a mystery. He's not strong. But a man who can walk away calmly, confidently, that man commands respect. Because walking away isn't about her. It's about you. It's about valuing yourself enough to choose peace over chaos, to choose standards over desperation. Now here's where Stoicism comes in. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" Think about that. When you stay too long in a bad situation, when you hold on out of fear, the damage runs deep. You lose your center. You lose your edge. But when you choose yourself, when you walk away from anything that no longer aligns with your values, that's when you reclaim your power. And women feel this. You see, every woman wants a man she can't fully control. She might test you. She might push boundaries. Not because she's evil, but because unconsciously she wants to know, will this man stand his ground? And when you do, when you walk away instead of begging or pleading, that energy is magnetic. Now, let's get practical. How do you become the man who walks away when necessary? First, you need clear boundaries. If you don't know your standards, what you will and won't tolerate, you'll always be at the mercy of her moods. Take time to define this for yourself. What is non-negotiable for you? What kind of behavior are you no longer willing to accept? Second, detach from the outcome. Too many men cling to relationships out of fear. What if I don't find anyone else? What if she moves on? That's scarcity mindset, and it kills your power. You must adopt the mindset that you are the prize. If she walks, fine. If she stays, even better. But either way, you remain whole. And third, live from purpose. A man consumed by his mission, by his growth, by his life's work, is never afraid to walk away. Because his fulfillment doesn't come from a woman. It comes from within. When you live this way, here's what happens. Women lean in harder. Why? Because they know you have the strength to leave if needed. And that strength, that self-respect, is rare. And what's rare becomes desirable. So the next time you find yourself holding on to something that doesn't serve you, ask yourself, am I honoring myself here? Or am I operating from fear? Because the moment you choose yourself, the moment you walk away from anything that diminishes you, you become more attractive, not less. You become the man she has to respect. And often that's exactly when she comes chasing back. Not because you manipulated her, but because she senses your strength. So are you ready to be that man? Because in the next part, we're going even deeper. You'll learn how Stoic men always control the frame, and why that frame determines everything in attraction. Stay with me, and if this resonates with you, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I've felt that. Let's keep going. Number 6. Stoic men control the frame always. Let me ask you something, my friend. When you walk into a room, into a date, into any interaction, who controls the frame? Is it you or is it her? Because here's the truth. Most men overlook in any interaction there is always a frame. And if you're not controlling it, you're being pulled into hers. Now, what is the frame? It's the invisible structure of the interaction. It's the tone, the energy, the unspoken expectations. It's who sets the pace, the vibe, the emotional atmosphere. And trust me, women are masters at sensing it. They may not consciously think in terms of frames, but they feel them. And here's why this matters. A woman is drawn to a man whose frame is stronger than hers. Not controlling, not domineering, but steady, grounded, unshakable. That's why Stoic men always control the frame, because Stoicism teaches exactly that. Control what you can, let go of what you can't. Remain calm, no matter what the world throws at you. As Epictetus wrote, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That, my friend, is frame control. So, how does this show up in dating and relationships? Let me give you a scenario. You're on a date. She shows up late. She's testing you with little comments. Maybe she brings up her ex. Maybe she forgets to text back. Most guys, they get rattled. They react. They try to fix it. They shift into her frame. But you stay calm. You don't chase. You don't explain. You don't get pulled into her emotional ups and downs. Your world remains your world. And she can feel that. She realizes, this man won't bend just to please me. He's solid. And that's attractive. Because most women live in a world full of men who are easily thrown off balance. Men who bend their reality to please her. But a Stoic man, he remains the mountain. So how do you build this kind of frame control? First, know your values. If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. Women sense when a man lacks a core, when he's too eager to please, too quick to shift, just to win her approval. But when you know what you stand for, when your time, your energy, your life is guided by your own code that communicates strength. Second, master your emotions. Most frame battles are lost in the heat of emotion. She triggers you, you react, frame lost. But when you can feel the pull and choose calm instead, you stay in control. Remember, the man who controls the frame is the man who controls himself. Third, lead with purpose. When your life has purpose, when you're not waiting on her attention, her affection, her validation, you naturally control the frame. Because now she's entering your world, she's investing in your vibe, and that's where attraction deepens. Here's the thing, controlling the frame doesn't mean controlling her. It's not about dominance. It's about inner leadership. It's about showing through your calm presence that you are a man worth following. And women, especially high-quality women, are drawn to that energy. Now, quick word of caution. You can't fake frame control. Trying to act stoic while secretly seeking her approval. She'll feel that. True frame control comes from genuine inner work. From living stoicism, not performing it. It's about doing the reps mentally, emotionally, so that when life tests you, when she tests you, you stay steady. And here's the result. When you live this way, women will test you less over time, because they'll feel, this man can't be shaken. And that's incredibly attractive. So ask yourself, are you bringing this kind of frame into your interactions, or are you still reacting to hers? Because when you master this, when you control the frame, you control the dynamic. And when you control the dynamic, you become the man she can't help but respect and desire. Now what's coming next is even deeper. We're going to dive into how a calm man disarms a woman's defenses and why that matters more than you think. So stay with me. And if this speaks to you, drop it in the comments. I felt that. Let's keep going. Number 7. A calm man disarms her defenses. All right, let's switch gears for a moment. Because what we're about to talk about, this is what most men completely overlook when it comes to attraction. You see, many guys think that being more aggressive, more dominant, more loud, is what creates attraction. And sure, there's a time and place for masculine assertiveness. But if you don't understand this next point, you'll miss out on a level of connection that goes way deeper than surface attraction. Here's the truth. A calm man disarms her defenses. Why? Because most women walk through life with their emotional guard up. Think about it. Social media, bad dates, flaky men, guys with hidden agendas. She's seen it all. And naturally that builds layers of defense, skepticism, caution, emotional shields. Now here's where most guys go wrong. They try to break through those defenses with words. They try to convince her with compliments. Or worse, they try to prove they're not like the other guys. And what happens? She feels the pressure, the neediness, the subtle desperation. Her defenses stay up. But when you show up calm, grounded, unbothered by whether she lets you in or not, that energy says something powerful. I don't need anything from you. And that disarms her. Because here's what most women crave but won't say out loud. They want a man whose peace is stronger than their storms. A man who brings calm into the room, not more chaos. When you embody that calm presence, you're signaling that you're not reactive, that you can handle her moods, her energy, her uncertainty, without losing yourself. And that's incredibly rare. So let's break it down. What does calm energy actually look like? First, it's in your breath. A man who breathes slowly, deeply, especially when things get tense, projects calm. Most guys, shallow, rapid breathing. You can hear their anxiety. You can feel their neediness. But you breathe easy. You speak slower. You pause when needed. That creates a sense of control, and women feel that instantly. Second, it's in your body language. Relaxed shoulders, steady gaze, minimal fidgeting. No need to perform, no need to fill every silence. You're simply present, comfortable in your own skin. And third, it's in your mindset. You're not attached to the outcome. You're not there trying to win her over. You're there because you choose to be. And if the connection builds, great. If not, you're still good. This is what Stoicism teaches. He who angers you conquers you. Elizabeth Kenny, and echoed by many Stoic principles. But more than just anger, this applies to any emotional reactivity. When you allow her mood, her tests, her uncertainty to pull you off center, you lose frame. But when you stay calm, you win trust. Because here's something few men understand. For a woman to surrender emotionally or physically, she must feel safe. Not just safe from danger, but safe from judgment, safe from expectation. And nothing creates that space more than calm energy. It tells her, I'm not here to take from you. I'm here in my own power. Take it or leave it. And that's when walls start to drop. That's when she begins to relax. And guess what? That's when true attraction builds, not from forcing, but from allowing. So, how do you cultivate this? It starts with your inner life, your mental habits, your emotional discipline. The more you practice non-reactivity in all areas of life, the more natural calm becomes. Traffic jams, stay calm. Work stress, stay calm. Unexpected changes, stay calm. Because every time you choose calm over chaos, you build that muscle. And when you bring that into interactions with women, that's when magic happens. You become the man she can't explain but can't ignore. Because in a world full of men chasing, reacting, proving, a calm man stands out. So ask yourself, are you bringing that calm into your life? Because the more you do, the more doors open. And in the next section, we're going even deeper. You'll see how simply being unavailable can spark her deepest desires and why timing is everything. Stick with me, and if this resonates, drop it below. I want this. Let's keep going. Number 8. Being unavailable sparks her deepest desires. Let's talk about something that flips the entire script on modern dating. Being unavailable. Now, most guys hear that and think, does that mean ignoring her, ghosting, playing games? Absolutely not. This isn't about disrespect. It's not about manipulation. It's about understanding one of the deepest truths about human nature, especially female psychology. We want what we can't easily have. And for women, this is even more powerful. Because women are wired for challenge, for mystery, for the thrill of pursuit. And nothing creates that more than genuine unavailability. Now let me be clear, this isn't fake unavailability. Not pretending to be busy while sitting around waiting for her call. Not acting aloof while secretly stalking her social media. That's weak. And trust me, she'll pick up on that energy. What we're talking about is real unavailability. The kind that comes from a man living a full life. A man so engaged in his mission, his passions, his growth, that his time is precious. And here's why that matters. Most women, especially high-value women, are surrounded by men who are too available. Guys who jump at every text, who cancel plans with friends the moment she calls. Guys whose calendars are wide open just hoping for her attention. And while she might enjoy the short-term validation from those men, deep down, she's not drawn to them, because that availability signals low value. Think about it: when something is rare, when it's in demand, it naturally becomes more desirable. It's the same with you. When your time is scarce, not because you're faking it, but because you have purpose, it signals one thing: I am a man of value. And that's incredibly attractive. So how do you embody this unavailability in a way that sparks her deepest desires? It starts with your priorities. Look at your week, your day. How much of it is filled with things that make you stronger, smarter, more fulfilled? Because the more you pour into yourself, your fitness, your business, your passions, the less time you'll naturally have to wait around for any woman. And that's the key. True unavailability isn't forced. It's the byproduct of a life well lived. When she senses that you're not waiting on her, that your happiness doesn't depend on her texts, that's when her attraction deepens. Because now she starts to wonder, where is he? What's he doing? Who's getting his attention? That curiosity, that uncertainty, it stokes her desire. Now here's a Stoic layer to this. Epictetus taught freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and that applies here. The man who is free emotionally, mentally, is the man who doesn't need a woman to feel whole. And that freedom, that self-sufficiency, is what draws her in. But, and this is important, unavailability must be paired with warmth when you do engage. If you're just cold or distant all the time, you'll come off as rude or disinterested. But if you bring warmth, presence and value when you're with her, and then go back to living your full life, that's the sweet spot. Because now you're unpredictable. She can't own your time. She can't schedule your attention. And that tension, that uncertainty, it keeps her engaged emotionally, mentally, even physically. So ask yourself, are you living with this kind of unavailability? Or are you still too quick to respond, too easy to access? Because when you flip that, when your time becomes scarce, you shift the entire dynamic. She's now investing energy in you. She's wondering when she'll hear from you again. And that's when desire takes root, not from force, but from the natural pull of scarcity. Now coming up next, we're going even deeper. I'll show you why a man who truly chooses himself drives her crazy in ways she'll never admit. Stick with me, and if this hits home, drop it below. I've seen this. Let's keep going. Number 9. A man who chooses himself drives her crazy. All right, here we are, folks. The final piece of the puzzle. And in many ways, this is the one that pulls everything we've talked about together. Because if there's one type of man that drives women absolutely crazy, in the best way, it's the man who consistently, unapologetically chooses himself. Now, let's be clear about what that means. It doesn't mean being selfish. It doesn't mean being arrogant. It means this: you prioritize your own values, growth and peace no matter who comes or goes in your life. Most men, they flip this upside down. They mold themselves around the woman they're chasing. They shift their values to match hers. They sacrifice their time, their purpose, even their friendships, all in the hope of keeping her attention. And you know what happens? She loses respect. Because when a man puts her on a pedestal, when he abandons himself to win her, she can feel it. And that energy, it's repelling. But when a man is rooted, when he consistently chooses himself, that's when women lean in. Because now he's a mystery. He's unpredictable. He's strong. She knows, no matter what I do, this man will still choose himself first. And that kind of strength, that drives her wild because it's so rare. Here's why most women are used to men who fall apart for them. Men who are too eager, too reactive, too ready to compromise their own path. But when you live with this principle, when your first loyalty is to yourself, your value skyrockets. She starts thinking, how do I become a part of his life? How do I keep his attention? Instead of you chasing, she's now investing. And that's when the dynamic shifts. Now, here's a Stoic angle to this that I love. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." That's what choosing yourself means. You look within. You honor your values, your standards. You protect your energy. You pursue your purpose relentlessly. And you make decisions not based on, will she like this, but on, is this aligned with who I am? Now, does this mean you don't care about her? Of course not. It simply means I will not abandon myself for anyone. And that, my friend, is powerful. Because when a woman senses that, you won't lose yourself for her. When she feels that your happiness, your peace, your mission come first, she's drawn to that. Why? Because deep down, Every feminine woman craves a masculine counterpart who is unshakable, a man whose world is bigger than her, a man she has to earn a place beside. And when you live this way, something beautiful happens. Your interactions become cleaner. There's no neediness, no subtle desperation, no chasing. Just two people, each in their own power, choosing to connect. And if she walks away, you remain whole. You don't spiral. You don't beg. You simply move forward because your life was never built around her. That energy. It's intoxicating. Because in today's world, where so many men give up their power, the man who chooses himself stands out. He's rare. He's magnetic. And often he's the one who ends up with the very women he once thought were out of his league. Not because he played games, but because he lived with truth. I am enough. I choose me. And anyone who joins my life is a bonus, not my purpose. So, as we wrap this up, I want you to reflect. Are you living this way? Are you choosing yourself consistently? Because the more you do, the more your life will transform. Not just in dating, but in business, friendships, everything. Because at the end of the day, a man who chooses himself is a man the world respects. And yes, a man women chase. And there you have it, folks. 9 powerful truths about female psychology and how living as a Stoic man changes everything. If you found value in this video, and if you're serious about becoming the strongest version of yourself, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. And if you're ready to go even deeper to surround yourself with a brotherhood of men walking this path, join our Stoic community today. That's where the real growth happens. Thank you for spending this time with me. And remember, stay strong, stay focused, and as always, choose yourself. I'll see you again tomorrow.